Hi, my name is Mona Michelle Thompson, and I'm so excited today to talk to you. If you've tuned in today, it is your day. It is the day that you are going to discover something new about yourself. Because today, guess what? We're talking about selfies. I don't know if you've ever been around anyone and taking a selfie is really awkward. I remember when Instagram first came on the scene, and one of my sister-in-laws was like, oh my gosh, you have to get on Instagram. And I remember asking her, are you on Instagram? And she was like, no, but I think you'd be great on Instagram. And so she just grabbed my phone and made an account for me. And I remember being so mad. And I was like, what is Instagram? And she was like, it's just pictures. You just take pictures of yourself. And I remember the first time that I was taking a selfie, and I was like, how do I hold the camera? What do I do? Like, what? And it was so awkward. And then after a while, I became really great at it. And I discovered that the more that I took selfies, the more that I began to love myself. I was in a conversation with someone, and I said, if you bring up any person on Instagram, I can tell you a little bit about themselves by their feed. And so I said, bring up one of your friends. So I brought up a friend, and I started looking at the selfie, and I started saying all of the beautiful things that I saw in that person. And they said, oh my gosh, that is really how she is. So here's the thing. I want you to take out your phone, and if you're on Instagram, if you're on Facebook, if you're on TikTok, I want you to just go down your feed and look at all of your pictures. And I want you to discover something about yourself. When I began to look at my feed, I noticed that I looked the happiest when I was with my husband, when I was with my children, when I was with my goddaughters, when I was journeying alongside of another woman, when we were out like having dinner or lunch or maybe seeing a show. And I thought, wow, these are the things that make me happy. And so I began to start to understand the inner workings of myself. So that's one thing that you can do. This whole notion of selfie is helping you to discover your self-esteem. Remember, it begins with self, those four letters, S-E-L-F. Self-esteem, self-confidence, and all of those things will lead to self-empowerment. These are things that you're doing to empower yourself to be the best version of you that you can be. So one of the things that I did when I was on this road of discovering my best possible version of me is I began to take an inventory of myself. What does that mean? I started to look at the beautiful assets that I have. What are some of the things that people say about me all the time? They say I'm kind. Do they say I'm loud? Do they say I'm artistic? Do they say I can sing? Do they say, I'm a great friend, I'm a great daughter? Like, what are the things that people say about you? I want you to take a moment and just quiet yourself and think about the things that people say about you. And even if you feel that maybe some of the things that people say about you might be challenges, we can still use those so that you can look at those challenges and you can make them strengths. Well, how do you do that? Well, if someone says, sometimes you're irritable, you can say to yourself, well, what makes me irritable? And how do I take that irritation and make it into a strength by using it to become an advocate of the things that I'm irritated about? Did you ever think about that? Maybe sometimes you're irritated is because you want to see a change. And if you take that irritation and you flip it to advocacy, now it becomes something positive. So that's what you're going to do. You're going to look at yourself. You're going to take inventory of the things that people say to you and about you, and you're going to use that to work together for your good. So that's one way that you can develop a healthy selfie. You look at your Instagram feed or your social media feed, and if you don't have that, just look at the pictures in your phone. All of us have pictures in our phone. And then if you discover, I don't really like taking pictures of myself, I want you to take the next few days and practice taking pictures of yourself. And then here's the real thing. Not only practice taking pictures of yourself, practice looking at yourself. Whether it's through a picture, whether you wake up in the morning, and as you get ready, you're paying careful attention to all of your features. I used to do this thing when I would go to work in the morning. I would close my eyes and I would say, what do you have on today? And I would try to remember everything I had on, even the color of my underwear. Because sometimes we get dressed so fast, we're not even thinking about what we have on. And so as I did that, I realized that I would get dressed so fast and I would not pay attention to every detail of myself. So was I being good to my selfie? I didn't think so. So I began the practice of taking my time when I got out of the shower to lotion myself, to say good things to my arms, to my legs, to my feet. Then when I got dressed, I would put my clothes on, I would pause, I would look in the mirror, and I would think to myself, well, that's a beautiful color combination. It wasn't about the clothes. It wasn't about the lotion. It was about what I was saying to myself. Because when I began to speak the good things to myself, that was what I gave out to the world. That was the energy that I gave out in my daily life. And so I want to encourage you to take the time to self your selfie.